You've got to be extremely impressed with the job that Shane did behind the plate. I mean, he blocked probably 7, 8, 9 balls in the dirt.
Yeah.
I think there was one wild pitch, and that ball was 3 feet in front of the plate when it bounced. His development as a catcher, going from an infielder to taking over that role, and he's really blossomed in it this year. What have you seen from him to take that role and just really, embrace it this season? And he's, turning to, one of the best defensive catchers in the area.
Yeah. Well, he's extremely athletic. That's number one, and he's willing to do, the dirty work. I mean, he wants to catch, and he wanted to catch last season. And he was a converted guy, and he caught some real strike throwers last year, Plutko and Vandertijg, and I think it's been a much bigger challenge this year with Caprillion, who has wipeout stuff at times with strikeout pitches, and you've got Dyer and you got Poteet, and he's caught Watson now for 2 years, but he's matured into a defensive catcher, a guy that is a weapon back there. I mean, he can throw people out. I think he blocks and retrieves the ball as well as any catcher out there because he's so athletic. He frames well. I don't know where we'd be without Shane. And Shane has really developed. His offensive game is back to where we thought it would be. I think it suffered last year, as we talked about earlier, because that transition, to catcher. I mean, it was such a big transition. And this year, the books are balanced. He's really doing a nice job of swinging the bat. And I think, people are seeing that. People are seeing a guy that can do both. He can play defense, he can receive, he can block, he can throw, and then certainly he can hit. So, I think he's one of the best, catchers in the country, really. And its upside is so tremendous. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's started catching in January of last year. He didn't catch in the fall last year. So to do what he's done is remarkable. And I'm just very proud of him and the job he's done. And it's been a little bigger challenge for him, with the inexperience we have on the mound. And, we do have some guys that are more difficult to catch, really. You're talking about, those wipeout breaking balls. And, Plutko and Vandertijg were somewhat easier guys to catch. They knew really what they were doing. And, so I think he is blocking the ball even better this year and more this year. So he's been pretty impressive this season.
Does it make it any harder when it's a midweek guy because because he's on and off as far as a midweek catcher? I don't think he's caught midweek at least a couple weeks, at least 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, we have faith in our catching, and Hazard's done a pretty good job when he's caught. And like I said, Dyer's curveball is 78, 80 miles an hour. I mean, it's a hard down curveball. And some of those are going to end up in the dirt, and some of those you're going to have to block. And but Shane is, I think, we've relieved him enough this year that he is healthy and he's not tired. Last year, I think he was a little tired, and that like I said, that offense suffered. And this year, I think he's in better. I mean, he played with a hernia last year at the end, so he had a lot of physical things going on. But at the end of the day, he's really turned into one of the best catchers, I think, in the country.